Hello friends, welcome to my digital diaries, your go-to channel for tech insights. This is our series Elevating Sitecore with PowerShell Automation. And in today's episode number 3, we will dive into a crucial maintenance task, cleaning the publishing and event queue in Sitecore. So this will help your system fast, stable and efficient. If you find this video helpful, make sure to like, share, comment and subscribe. Also join the channel to unlock exclusive videos and advanced tutorials. And of course, hit the bell icon so you never miss our future videos. So let's start. Let us have a quick look at very important components of Sitecore, publishing and event queue. This plays a huge role in how Sitecore manages publishing and synchronize across servers. So let us start with publishing queue. Every time we publish content from the master database to the web database, Sitecore doesn't just push the content directly. Instead, Sitecore first logs the publishing operation into the publishing queue table. Think of it as a ledger or a logbook where every published action is recorded before execution. What does it stores? If we look at the publishing queue table, it contains several important columns, and this table exists only in the master database. So what does the publishing queue contains? The what columns? First is the ID, a unique identifier for the record. Then we have a item ID of the item being published. Then we have a language, the language version of an item, version of that item. Then we have a action, what is happening with whether it is publish or delete, that is mentioned in the action. Then we have a date when the action is requested. And finally, we have an index which controls the order of publishing. So essentially, each rows in this table represent the publishing instruction for a specific item, language, version and action. Purpose of publishing queue, why we need this table? It ensures Sitecore knows exactly what needs to be published in what order. Without publishing a table, the publishing will be a chaotic, especially in large content heavy system. But here is the real issue with the queue. On websites that are very large or frequently updated, the publishing queue table can grow extremely fast. This makes publishing operations slower because Sitecore has to work through more rows. Over time, if left unchecked, this can impact overall performance of your publishing queue. Now let us talk about event queue. Sitecore is often used in scaled environments where you have a multiple content delivery servers working together. Whenever something changes in Sitecore, for example, an item is updated, cache is cleared, or a role or member change happen, Sitecore writes this change into the event queue table. The goal is simple so that all servers are aware of the change and stay in sync. If we check the event queue table, here is what inside. First is ID, which is unique identifier for each event. Then we have an event type, which tells us what type of an event occurred. Then we have an instance type, which indicates what type of a Sitecore instance triggered. Instance data, which contains the detail of an event. Instance name of the Sitecore instance that raised the event. Raise locally and raise globally tells whether the event should apply only to the current server or all the servers. Username, the Sitecore user who's triggered the change. Stamp, timestamp for that event. And then we have a created when the entry was added. In short, Each row here acts like a notification for servers about what changed in the system. So what is the purpose of event queue? The main purpose is very powerful. It ensures that all CD servers are aware of any changes and can update their cache or indexes accordingly. Without this, one server might show updated content while another still show the old cache data, leading to the inconsistency for users. Let us take simple example. Suppose an author edits an item in Sitecore CMS. Immediately Sitecore writes a record into the event queue. This record is then picked by all the CD servers. Each server clears its cache for that item, so the new content is visible everywhere consistently. So to wrap this up, publishing queue is like a publishing ledger, whereas event queue is like notification system. Imagine this, your team is ready to push an urgent update to the live website. You hit publish button, but it just keeps spinning. Minutes turns into frustration and suddenly the publishing fails. Very often the hidden culprit is a publishing or event queue. So why clean these queues? Performance. Old and unused entries slow down Sitecore database queries. Publishing jobs takes longer because Sitecore still scans through all those stale entries. Next is the database size. These queues grow quickly and can unnecessarily increase your database size. This will make your backups and restores very slow. Stale data. Entries older than few days serves no purpose. The changes are already synced across the database, so this data is useless. Prevent issues. So in extreme cases, overloaded tables cause timeout and publishing failures. Exactly like the scenario we just imagined. So that may be the problem with this. Like the full table, it may cause a timeout. Now ways to clean queues. Sitecore admin tool. So you can utilize built-in admin pages like publishing queue.xpx or event queue.xpx, where you can manually clear the entries. This is provided by the Sitecore out of box. Then you have a SQL cleanup scripts where you can run the script directly into the SQL and delete old rows from the queue table. This is quick but requires care. Then the one which we are going to do in this video, that is Sitecore schedule task or a PowerShell. The smarter way automate cleanup with Sitecore PowerShell extension or a schedule task so the queues never get out of hand again. So now we are going to see the third method where we are going to use PowerShell script to automate to clean up the publishing queue and event queue. Let me first run those scripts and show you how it works. Later we will break down those scripts into smaller parts and we will understand in detail how it works. So let's start our demo. Okay, so let's start our demo. I have already opened the PowerShell ISE in my Sitecore instance. I have copied my script, so you can get this script from my articles on the LinkedIn or from the GitHub repository, which I will be sharing in the description. I'm not going to explain it now in this demo, how this script is working. We will break down this script in smaller part and then I will go into the detail how this script works. So just giving you a walkthrough of the script. So first of all, we have a prompt the user for input. So we are asking user to enter the number of days to keep the publishing queue. Then we are validating the user input. We are checking whether user is entering the correct value. He is basically entering the number. Then we are having the SQL connection here. Then we are determining the cutoff date of, depending on the user input, we are determining the cutoff date from till where we should keep the data. And then comes the heart of the script, that is to execute the SQL query. For that we have to get the connection string, then we have to create the SQL connection, we have to open the SQL connection, we have to create the command, and then add the parameters, okay, and then execute the non-query. Execute the non-query by the command. So all these things I will be explaining in detail in the once our demo is finished. So I will go into the details of this query. So first of all, we are running the publishing queue cleanup. I have anything in my publishing queue. Let's see. So let's execute it. So let's enter the number of days. Say I will say 7. See, you can see here you enter 7, the cleaning publishing date queue, keeping only last 7 days. So 9/13, so 7 days behind. It has gone cleaning the publishing queue. I don't have any data, so it is 0 data, and publishing queue cleanup completed. So this is the publishing queue cleanup. Now we will see how to clean up the event queue. Okay, now let's see how to clear the event queue. So first part is the same, that we are asking the user to input number of days to keep the event queue. Then we are converting that value into the cutoff date, and then here is a key difference in the event queue, that the event queue exists in all the database. So I have core, master, web. So if you have multiple like web preview and other things, then you can add here those database. Okay, so those database, it's here, and then we are looping it. Similar code we have written for the publishing queue, and there is a query which we execute. Okay, let's run this. I'm entering 3 days. Okay, so if you see here the message, you have entered 3-day cleaning event, keeping only last 3 days. So it has reduced the date, and then it has deleted. Now there is nothing in my queue. So it is core, master, and web. It is clean up done, and event queue is cleaning up completed. So that's how it will work. We have to set up the job for this, that we will see in next video. Okay, so let's go in detail of this script, both the script. Let's see how it works. Okay, let me walk through the script here. The first part is the prompting the user for input. So in our last video we have gone very detail of this, that how the prompt is created. So if you see here, this props is a hash table, and here it is used to store all the settings for pop-up input box. So I'm not going in detail here. If you see parameters and title, description, width, height, what purpose it is used, I have already explained in last video. Right, just revising it. So parameters defines the input fields, and title, description, height, width defines how the pop-up should look like for this. Okay, in the parameters, this name suggests the input value, that is your variable. So now read variable is a Sitecore PowerShell function which takes a prop and creates a pop-up input form. So whatever the user input, that will get stored into the result. Okay, and that result is basically in the variable input value. Once you run this script, a pop-up will appear with a text box, and user can enter number, which is used as a number of days to keep data. So we have already seen that pop-up has come. Now second part of this script is validate the user input. Okay, so here if you see this try catch, what we are doing is we are getting the value whatever the user has inputted, and then we are validating that value whether it's a positive number or not, or basically it is number or not, first of all. Okay, so that is what we are validating the user input. Now the next part is basically determining the cutoff date. So here we calculate the cutoff date for items in the publishing queue. Items older than this date will be deleted. So what we are doing is we are getting the number of days which is user has inputted. If it's 0, it means we have to delete everything. So cutoff date will be the now date. So get happen date returns the current date and time. So in this case, if it is 0, then current date is what is our cutoff date. Otherwise, we are adding the number of days. So add days is a function which is used for that, and we are adding number of days to the current date. Okay, that will provide us the cutoff date. And now comes the heart of this script, that is the executing the SQL command. So first of all, if you see this code, it is similar to the .NET. So first of all, if you have to do in .NET, we have to get first of all the connection string. Similarly, we are getting the connection string here, this line. Okay, connection string is equal to sitecore.configuration.settings get connection string master. So as I said earlier that publishing queue exists only in the master database. So what we are doing is we are trying to get the the connection string of a master. Okay, so this $connection string retrieves the connection string for the Sitecore master database from Sitecore settings. Okay, then the next is very key command, that is new object. So what it is doing is we are creating new SQL connection object by using new object. And then which connection we are using is system.data.sql client SQL connection. So SQL connection we are creating as a new object, and which connection string? $connection string. So SQL connection is created here. Now in the C# also what we does it, we once your connection is created, we open it to work on it. So right, so here also we are opening the connection. Okay, then comes the key part here, building and running the SQL delete command. So here create command is used to create the SQL command, and command text actually holding the command. So here what is our command? Delete from publishing queue where date is less than cutoff date. Please remember in publishing queue the column name is date for a date, cutoff date. Okay, so what we are comparing is a date. Okay, then this cutoff is basically we are passing as a parameter. So we are adding here as a parameter, and it is from cutoff date which we have calculated earlier. Okay, and this is date time. Okay, then we are executing this command. Similarly, what we do in .NET, execute non-query. So we are executing non-query here. Okay, and then the message is printed here once it is cleaned up. Okay, and finally we are closing the connection. Okay, so it's a similar thing which we do in .NET also. Why we close the connection? Because we wanted to close all the connection to avoid leaving open connection that can slow down or block the databases. Okay, so that is very important, and that's how the publishing queue is completed. So this is the clean publishing queue script. Now let's see the clean event queue script. It's similar. The first few things are exactly the same, so I'm not going in detail. So prompting the user input, same. Similarly, we are getting the input from the user that till what we should keep the data. Then we are validating that input, and then we are calculating the cutoff date here. Okay, now the key difference here between publishing queue and event queue is the publishing queue exists only in the master, but event queue exists in all the database. So we are making the array of the database, whatever number of database which you are having, you can make the array of it. Okay, and then you need to for loop it. Okay, so for each loops through each item in the $database. Inside this loop we will connect to each database and clean the event queue. Now if you observe the code is similar to what publishing queue does. Here we are getting the database connection, we are creating the SQL connection object here by using new object. We are creating SQL connection here, we are opening the SQL connection, and then the query here. So create command will create a command, and the command C delete from event queue where created is the column which is used in event queue less than cutoff. Okay, and then we are adding the parameter cutoff, and then we are executing it, and then at the end we are closing the database. Exactly the same what publishing queue is done, just that delete from event queue is event queue where created cutoff is the command text. That's the difference here. Okay, so finally it will loop for every database, core, master, web preview and web, and then the finally event queue cleanup completed will be displayed to the user. So this is what a clean event queue command is. Both these scripts are available on my Git repository. I will give the Git in description. Also on my LinkedIn article, I will be pasting these queries. That's it for today's episode. Next episode, we will see how to clean history tables and then to set up automation by using a scheduled job. So stay tuned. If you have not subscribed to the channel, then do consider subscribing to the channel and click on notification bell. Do provide your feedback via comment, and if you are liking this series, you are liking this video, then do share this with your friends and colleagues, and don't forget to upvote by clicking on like button and clicking on hype button. See you in the next episode. Thank you.